You can't make $30,000 a year saying I want a six-figure dude, X, Y, and Z. Even if it's six figures, it's only $100,000. I think you're still asking a bit much. I think if you want a man, I wouldn't even say man, if you want a partner who is in shape, but you yourself are not in shape, I think you might need to lower your standards because your standards, not only are they too high, they're unreasonably high. If you yourself cannot, treat yourself to a nice meal 1 or 2 times a week, you yourself can't go on a vacation 3 or 4 times a year on your own dime. If you can't, do all of these things that you require, it's really difficult and kind of unreasonable for you to expect that from somebody else. I'm not saying that you have to do every single thing, but a lot of things you should be able to do yourself. And I think that's one thing that we kind of need to look at as far as what is unreasonable, as far as the standard, and what is just, come on now.
I don't know. A man doesn't. I don't get excited when a man I don't know. I need him to do more than what I can do for myself because that's what excites me.
But that's the thing.
I need you to be do better for me than I can do for myself.
I think you missed what I said.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
You
Okay.
need to be able to minimally do what you're asking of someone else.
Right. If I can take myself out once a week, is it okay for me to have somebody that I expect to take me out 3 times a week?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But I think going back to like the topic, which is like the versus being single. I think especially a lot of people in our generation, we're very happy, content about being by ourselves.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It's so scary because
scary.
there's nothing that I look forward to more than coming to my couch,
Yeah, so
doing my edibles,
Laying down.
having my snacks,
yeah. No, that's
not
a
talking
fact.
to no one, and just be like, like I love that part of our lives, and like that is where I'm like, all right,
So good.
listen, it's one thing about compromising for the person you love, but I'm not compromising if I'm happy by
sanity.
myself.
Yeah.
Your peace is so amazing.
It's
I
so-
can never. I will never
That
ever.
should come
ever.
first before anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband went out of town last week on a golf trip, right?
You loved it.
No, listen.
I would be like,
I was hanging out with my friends in Brooklyn. These like my college friends. And they were like, yeah. and they said something about him. And I was like, yeah, I hope he's having a good time because I'm at the house chilling. I was like, as much as I like for him to be around, it's weird because I love being alone. Like, even if my house is quiet, I'll turn some, what's the Alexa turn on the jams or whatever. I'll be in my house, cleaning up,
Yes.
laying on the couch. I don't even lay on the
Facial,
couch.
a mask, you just walking around. Yes.
Chilling. It's
No,
like
once a week at
quiet.
least.
Nobody interrupting your thoughts.
Yeah.
I did now chore.
yeah.
And normally I keep up my house. I love a curate at home.
Yeah.
But I did now chore while
Not
he was
one.
going, not one.
Good
Oop,
for you.
there goes some dust. It's staying right there.
Right. No dishes, no laundry, no.
Sometimes that's the thing about being in a relationship. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's so much pressure, and you don't. Once you've been in a relationship so long, and you don't even realize how much pressure it is. And sometimes I'm just like, yo, I just want to just take a few days to sit in these sweats,
Yep.
get my motherfucking mind right,
Yeah,
and not have anybody ask me nothing.
I want to order sushi for
like-
6
I
and
don't
not
want
be
anybody
judged.
judging me because I might be scrolling
Yep.
for like 45
Yep.
minutes. I don't want
Yep.
nobody judging me because
But that's all good, and I agree to everything y'all saying. But I also feel like it also comes down to communication, because you could still have that and be in that same relationship if y'all brought it up in the beginning. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta
Be
date
like,
it.
oh, I need this on Mondays. I need my me time. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Maybe if you say that,
Yeah,
then
if
you
you-
can get those opportunities.
you don't do that in the beginning though. You
Yeah,
don't do
that's
that
the
shit.
problem.
Oh
Everything's
my god, I like
peachy.
him.
Yeah,
I
it's
just want to
just
be in his
so-
butthole.
It's dumb. And then you get to this point in the relationship, now you're like, oh, fuck. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's
That
just
was
like,
too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when you share a house with somebody, you can't really get away from them. So
You can't.
You can, though. You have to,
How?
but you have to, that's what I'm saying, is communication. Because even if
So I'm
it's
supposed
like,
to tell him to leave.
it's not about leaving. It's like, I need my time, you need your time. And it's reality. Humans need your own personal time. And if you don't realize that, that's why most relationships, y'all end up doing this. Because you
I
feel
agree.
like, oh, we have to share everything. You don't have to share everything.
But I like being in my house by myself.
Me too.
So that's why I'm saying maybe. So I should tell him like, yo, I need you to leave for a
Or
couple
just be
hours.
like, what's your schedule like this week? You get what I'm saying? Oh, I got to be at work from 9 or whatever. Okay, cool. So that's my me time. You get what I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
for a fact he's not coming
Especially
home.
when you're
da-da-da-da.
stressed and you just
Right.
don't want to be, you don't like,
Yeah.
'Cause
ooh.
what's worse? Now he's coming home and he's thinking he's gonna chill with you. You don't want to chill with him, and now he's pissed off because you acting weird. He don't know. You need your me time.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
when you're in a good relationship,
in the shop.
About to lie.
right? When you're in the shop, getting busy. you can compromise. Like you guys can work on certain things,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's all workable. That's fine. Like if you're with somebody and they respect that you need your me time and they respect you,
But
your
you have to
space.
make them do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like when you're in a relationship and somebody is just like taking your piece and like whenever you're in a bad mood, they just make it worse, or whenever you don't feel like talking, or maybe you just are not in the mood or something like that. And you're with someone that just doesn't understand your love language. We go back to love language and doesn't understand like how to share a space. I feel like that's something that I cannot compromise.
Yeah, same.
Because when I need just a moment to think, I need you to get out my face because now you're gonna make me violent.
No, I agree. That's
Because
different. Though.
I don't want to be
That means
bothered.
He don't want to work it out. then.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
if he's not listening and doing the same things, then it's just like he don't know his partner.
yeah, you don't know your partner and you don't care, and it's given other things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, a new study, a study from Morgan Stanley predicts that 45% of women are going to be single by 2030. And they're basically saying, to speak on what you guys are saying, the root to the problem is people are prioritizing their individual happiness.
Yeah.
So that's going to lead to a problematic issue in the future because people aren't going to be procreating as much as they used to because we are so busy worried about our own individual happiness.
Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
First
I'm
of
like,
all,
I
we
got
don't-
lots to say on this.
Yeah, and we don't need to procreate. The planet is raggedy.
Exactly.
This bitch
The
is
planet,
wild.
we don't need no more people,
Also,
man.
one of the-
tearing this planet
yeah.
up. One aliens in the clouds, all kind of shit happening. We don't need no more people.
Wait, can we
One
get
of
some
the big-
clarification
Yeah.
on the point, Marie?
Mhm.
So they're saying 45% of women will be single. How does that correlate to men?
Right, that's
I'm
what
just-
I said.
I'm just
So-
curious.
Men is
That
something
means
like
you-
75%
that
or some
means-
shit.
No, essentially what's happening is, and the women feel empowered while the men are feeling lonely. So that's what they predict.
Oh,
So
damn, I feel
as
bad now.
women
I
become
don't.
more financially secure and strong and empowered, they don't feel the need to get married, have the family, and have those support system. So whereas 50, 60 years ago, you felt the need for that protection. So women are so empowered now
Yeah.
that it's not a thought in their mind.
We're always
But
the losers
that's
of the
thing.
sexes.
Yeah, if you
And
think
they're
about it,
We were always the losers of the sexes, and
Yes.
now that we realize we don't, like, we have been being controlled.
Yes,
And now we're just
completely.
like,
like
"We need
that's
to
the
clean
thing.
your
Like,
damn house. Look
we-
at
we-
Linda's looking at me like, bitch, what?
No, I agree because I think I've always said this. I think the men's role has changed. Like I think the women are more stronger sometimes than men, and it's sucky to say because I'm a man, but I agree. I see it. Women are taking care of the house and the family and everything, and then you have the men sitting there all in his emotions, and it's like, bro, get up and do something or fix the situation. Like,
Right.
and
Hang
I'm-
a lighter.
yeah, like I don't know. So I agree.
I need some new tile.
it's also
Figure it
about
out.
the fact that we finally have females having the free will, able to do
Yep.
whatever they want. They can go to get an education. They can go get a job. They can choose not to stay home with the kids. They can choose not to take care of the household. Like all these things are extremely important for us in
That's the
order
key
to
word.
get further in society.
Yeah.
Like we've not had a voice until now. Like we better keep that voice.
But I always thought a woman that had like all that together is more attractive than a woman that just wants to stay home and be a housewife. I don't
You're
know,
one of
just
the
saying.
few. I'm just letting you know.
No, I know. No, I know that for a fact.
Like,
'cause
I-
I see some guys,
yeah.
but I think guys that like a woman that's just want to be a stay at home or that's not the brightest. I feel like that's more controlling. I think
Yeah,
that's a guy. That
yeah.
just likes
But
to
I
be
think that's
controlled,
like that's the common kind of like
mean,
part
that's-
of society
yeah.
at this point. Even I look at my parents and I'm like, Mom, like I don't want you to go out and cheat, but like, God damn it, woman,
some
like
action.
do
That's
something
a
for
fact.
yourself.
Just some action.
Yeah,
Bust a
I'm like, I
nut.
would understand it.
Right,
Girl,
right,
throw that
right.
ass in a circle.
Yeah. Dad, don't watch this.
Sorry. Go ahead, mama.
You watch-
Circle. Hey.
They're never gonna give me no money when they pass away.
I have a quick question for you guys. Do you guys?
I don't know.
if you play your role, are you happy playing that role, or are you just playing that role until you figure your shit
Because you
out?
have no choice.
Yeah.
And women had no
Big
choice.
difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. You're
fact.
right.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Because if as exhausting as it is to be a parent and to make sure the house is clean and just to make a pot of oodles and noodles, that shit is exhausting. So
Not the
a
oodles
bitch
and
need to
noodles.
survive.
Not for the child. though.
Okay.
So if I gotta do all of that and I gotta survive at work,
You guys are not.
I think it's confusing because there's a power change, right? Like finally the woman, it's not just making 75% of the dollar, but we're holding positions in society where we can actually have a say. And we don't have to give birth the same way that my parents, our parents' generation, like they would settle down with their high school sweetheart.
Mhm.
They would start having children in 23, which
That's it.
paused the female from going to get an education. Like these days, like we are free as birds to do whatever the hell we want up until we choose not to.
And if a relationship is not allowing you to do that, it's okay to move on these days.
Exactly.
Because guess what?
It's not
If-
stigmatized.
I don't have to, just because you're my high school sweetheart, I don't have to marry you, and we no longer
Yes.
feel the pressure of having to stay with
Yeah.
someone just because society is telling me I have to get married. Society is telling me that I have to be with the person I had a kid with. Society is telling me that I can't have more than one baby father. And society,
Well, see, that's the
But
thing.
is there
now,
a
who-
consequence to that? That's
Is
all
there?
We'll have
good.
less kids.
No, yeah, I understand. Like, okay, so it's always like in theory, it sounds like it's gonna be great, but when you're like maybe 62 and you
Mhm.
need somebody to unzip your dress in the back and you breaking your arm trying to do it by yourself.
You gotta have
Like,
money.
yeah, but do you have to settle for the person that you met in high school, or is it okay
I
to?
think the difference is I don't think people should settle, but I do think people start to begin to manage their expectations. There's a difference between settling and managing your
I think people
expectations.
find partners.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and whatever partners mean, if it's your best friend that lives with you, if you live close to your family, like you don't always have to have a partner that's like your lover at the
partner.
same time. You can also have a million
Companion.
lovers, but you don't
Companionship.
have to have an actual husband to take care of you, or like a wife that's like doing your chores. Like I think it's important to understand that partnership doesn't have to be the way that it was when it was like the
Right, like an
religion
arranged,
ruling.
like there was,
Yeah.
it started
When
off with like
wasn't a
arranged.
partnership.
Yeah.
It
No
started
rule to
off
a
as
relationship. Period. I think
Yeah.
that's where everybody's getting it faulted.
There's no
Yeah.
one.
There's no rule to a relationship.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You guys have to make your own rules.
Yeah.
And that's how it's gonna work. If I'm saying like, okay, Aaron, you're gonna be the one that's bringing in the money, then what are your rules for me? And then I have to
Right.
be able to play that role.
Yeah.
And if I can't, then I have to shut up.
Right,
So this,
exactly.
So this
But
is the
those were-
problem with that. So there, and while I totally agree with you, there you have to have men who are on board with that,
Right.
and the women have to be on board with
Right.
that. And right now, within the last, I don't know, 50 years, there's been a huge change in the power dynamic between men and women.
Mhm.
And we can see that women are pushing the line, pushing forward, but men, unfortunately, are kind of still stuck.
It's too much to deal with.
You
That's
know,
why.
They're still stuck because that is how things have always
Yeah.
been, and it's very hard to change things that have always been a certain
I
way.
don't think so.
And it's-
I think
No, but no, not for you.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
for you.
No, I
But for
know.
like the general.
Yeah.
No,
like
yeah,
the
but I'm
general
saying for the
public.
general, I feel like it's honestly it's like for men, and I agree with that. And I feel like the reason why men are stuck, I think, because we don't know how to change. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
we don't like change sometimes,
Yeah.
either as guys. And I feel like that's where I had to come in as a man myself and looking at me like, okay, so if I want to change this, what am I gonna do to fix
Mm-hmm.
that? And if you don't do that ever, you're gonna be in that stuck same position. And I feel like that's
ego.
where we are.
And it's
Ego.
it's
Yeah,
challenging the actual like the whole
Yes.
foundation of marriage. And marriage, as much as like we're not
have
like
that
very
happen.
deep into like the marriage part, marriage was a way for you to like control power, keep power, and have certain rules applied to that
Bloodline,
situation.
money,
Yeah,
everything.
that is not
Consolidation of
right.
power and
Right.
resources.
But if
Yeah.
you tell yourself, but
Yeah.
how does a man compromise when we come from a time where they used to say my wife has to be a virgin? So
Right.
now
Yeah.
women being like, look,
That's exactly like men are having such a difficult time
Time.
figuring out how to change. And I'm
Yep.
not saying it's a good or well, it's not looking real good. But like I understand that it's difficult to
some
change.
grace.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's what
We're
I'm
gonna
saying.
get it.
yeah.
It's very hard to change that, and I
Yeah.
understand, but somebody gotta wake up and be like, yo, I can't expect for my wife to go out and work every day, or my partner to go out and work every day, to come home to cook, to clean, to fuck around with these kids. Like I can't, and I'm just gonna sit at the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go to work. That's all I'm gonna do. No, you
Yeah.
need to get your ass up and help and do something. And that's the problem. At this point, you just cannot do it on your own. If you're in a partnership and everybody in the house has to work, that means everybody in the house needs to help with the kids. Everybody in the house needs to help with the dishes. Everybody in the house needs to help with the whatever. And again, I'm not saying this is a rule, but this is at minimum a discussion that needs to be had.
right,
Because you have some people who are not putting $1 on the mortgage,
right.
you know? But then you also have some people who are willing to do the 50%, who are willing to do the 60-40. And that's fine, but your expectations have to be realistic and they have to be voiced.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not in a time anymore where the woman is essentially required to be in the house or she doesn't have a choice but to be in the house. At this point, like you said earlier, we have freedom of choice. I don't even think it's a power dynamic. I think it's a freedom of choice dynamic. that
Mhm.
actually empowers us. I think that's really what it
I
is.
also feel like, and you tell me am I lying, I don't think guys are making you guys feel like protected enough to be like, oh yeah, I would just want to stay home with this guy. So you guys are going out and doing your own because there aren't enough
'Cause
guys
you
that
have
are making
to.
you feel that way.
You're right. Yeah.
You know? So I feel like we're
Men
both
are
in the-
changing.
Yeah, we're all
But
changing.
are
but so-
changing.
Everyone's
So
changing.
is the world. Like
Throughout this time, yeah,
We're
us
living
men
through it.
and women,
That's-
yeah, we're,
yeah,
that's
we're
a
living through the
vibe.
change.
We're
Yeah,
living
yeah.
through
Like,
it.
it's gonna be a completely different reality in a little bit. Like
Yeah.
we're just seeing it happen before our eyes. Just like the whole phone things. We had some flip phones, and we never knew that in a few years after texting here and there that we would literally survive off of our phones. So again, we did that happened before our eyes. So
You ain't
even
lying.
now, there's a big change going on in relationships where I don't know.
Society. just
Yeah,
in general.
society and everything. Like women are wilding out. We just like we don't need. I don't need this shit. I'm about to go find another man. 2 weeks later, I don't need this shit. You know, and the men are like, bitch,
Well, now what's the pros and cons of that though?
It's
Like,
gonna-
the change that we're having. What do you
I
have
mean,
to like?
is this going in a good direction?
That's what I'm
I-
saying.
I think
Do you
that
think it's going in a good direction?
financially, I think we're slowly getting equal in a society, but again, like men are not
what I'm
going
scared
out
of.
there. Men are not. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be equal with nobody.
No,
please,
no.
please.
Men are not going out there to hunt a bear. Like we're not
facts.
killing to feed ourselves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need you to go and get that bear and drag it home and take care of me. Like
I don't want
at
no bear
this-
meat now.
I don't want. Actually,
didn't
I've
have a
never
rug.
had one. So let
Have
me.
a rug.
Is anyone out there hunting bears? Let me know.
Still wanna feel
We got
protected,
decor.
though.
We got a
Like,
bear head on the wall.
That's more of a like it's not like a actual thing. Like I'd love for you to be on my side, take care of me,
It's not a
but it's
demand.
not an actual thing, right? Like these days, like we're all kind of equal in a way,
Mm-hmm.
weird, and we should keep it that way and keep pushing forward.
Whatever
That's why
works for
that's
you,
what I
though.
don't
Each other,
understand
yeah.
though, because I dated this guy, and he had this company where he did HVAC units or whatever. He has, like he would put all the ACs in buildings and stuff like that. And he was such a fucking manly man. Like I could depend on him for anything. Any fucking thing. Like, I'd be like, I want the handheld shower. He would fucking go to the store. He would know how to install that shit. He would know how to do everything. And that shit is something that I need. I
Okay, but be
desire that.
honest. Okay, but be honest though. He did all of that, but now were you able to have like a good conversation with him?
I
Were you able to
had a
do it,
great situation with him, but I was young.
Oh, okay.
But you know why? You know
And I
why?
fucked up.
You know why you like that? This is what I assume is because we grew up. We're in a generation where our dads were like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Our grandfathers were like
Yep.
So you
that.
kind of
Yeah.
just want your dad and your
Yeah.
father.
It's
like
That's what I'm
idolizing.
I
feeling.
didn't
that
have
part.
that.
At
Yeah.
some point, but the
I
thing
don't
is
know
that,
what my
though,
daddy was doing. He was
you
locked
still
up.
saw it. But no, but you
I had
still,
no daddy around when I was growing up.
That's why I'm wild and I don't give a fuck.
you still seen it, so you know it exists. You know it's a thing. Like
Let me tell you.
Yeah,
Fact.
we definitely idolize
Or-
that part as women, and
I still need that. I'm not that far into this
You
generation
don't
where
need
I'm
it,
just
you want
like,
it.
and I
Say
do
that.
want it, and I'm cool with that.
It's
But
okay
like, if
wanting
my
it.
man, if my man was able to like do the manly things in the house, and like, I'll be the one building shit sometimes, and I'd be like,
you.
can you fucking help me build this table? You know what I'm saying? Like,
country
so
of
it's like-
IKEA.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I like someone who's gonna fucking be like, oh yeah, let me go do the oil change real quick. Let me go do this, or let me do
But
that.
see, I feel like that's why
That's just my preference, though.
exactly, and we're in a generation where we have different
There's a dynamic,
preference.
yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? We'll
Everybody
have you
is
that
just
want you to be
different.
manly, but then you have you that want me to be the stay-at-home husband. Then we have you that want me to be artsy. You never know. You get what I'm saying? But it's okay to have a different guy for.
This
Yeah,
is the thing
yeah.
because again, we're living in the change.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally happening right
Yep.
before our eyes.
Yep.
So in two generations, baby, your grandchild ain't worried about somebody building a chair.
Not at all.
You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, that still may be something that is necessary or desirable to you, but it's soon gonna change, just
Yep.
like your desires have changed compared to your mom's and your grandma's.
Mhm.
The only thing I don't like though, and y'all
That's
tell
so
me,
true.
I feel like we are changing a lot, but I feel like the family isn't the same either. I think that's what's a
Mhm.
lot. Like that's kind of hurtful because I feel like I
Yeah.
miss that like
That
love, that
family,
family.
family,
You know what I
family,
mean?
yeah.
Like I think
I
that
think
is.
we're all getting overwhelmed. Like sometimes I feel like my brain just can't think.
I
Just-
think
just
also
relax.
we decide to leave on a
It's
much
too much
earlier
shit. It's
age
called
and like do
anxiety.
our own thing.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
But you're constantly on your phone. You're constantly thinking about this. You're constantly
Yeah.
talking about this. You constantly have new projects. You constantly have new friends, new parties because we're so fucking connected all goddamn day.
But that's
It's
also like
affecting relationships, friendships, family, everything. So the dynamic of everything is changing.
But I don't think that's all of society, though. I think that's a very specific part of the society. Like we live a very different life than majority of the world does.
Yeah.
So like the
Right.
way
It's
we
very Western.
it's
Yeah.
very Western, and we live in a very high space. Like we do things, we have careers that are like taking us to places. My mom, like when she watches my Instagram, she's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
Millionaire.
Like
I'm girl, my life.
exactly, like
Aw,
we're
I
not
had to survive
living
off
a
$12
normal
last week.
life. So like as much as we want to put our wishes and standards on the whole society, like our part of the society is a very small portion of society.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes I look in the news, like we don't
Still a
even see the
lonely one,
news.
though.
There's so much news in
No.
different cultures.
I feel like our industry is very
BBC.
lonely though.
Oh,
You know
I
what
mean,
mean?
on
Yes,
a
I'm
Sunday
just like,
night,
damn,
yeah,
they
but
get
I'm
bombed
honestly
up
watching
kids.
90 Day Fiance at that point.
Don't you think though, like innately, men and women want companionship, want to be together? That it may not be marriage, but you still want partnership. So don't you think the consequence of prioritizing your own happiness so much is in the end you're not going to get that?
Detrimental. It's
Yeah.
almost
I think it's more about we're building new norms, we're building new social structures, we're building new needs that we're actually putting out there that our parents weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
I think you can find companionship with people that have the exact same wishes and needs.
But
I
also
don't think I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're also realizing like we're changing so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Women
don't
are
have to
changing so
say.
much. Men
Yeah.
are changing so much. So in
And
that
change is
sense,
good.
it's almost hard to find people that are on the same page as you. One and two, like of course I want to live with some like love somebody unconditionally and marry someone and be with someone for the rest of my life and have that whole Notebook movie fairy tale. Of course I want to do that. I want to die with somebody by my side. Like baby, we've been together all our lives. I just love you. But that's hasn't been the reality anymore because so many things are changing in our society. We have more needs, we have more wants, we see how everyone else is living. So it's hard to just accept someone for who they are. People do have too many
Yeah,
options.
That's true.
Build on that.
Yeah, I think that we always again, we're talking about right now like compromise, like settling, or what was the other?
But literally, like what you
Being
just said,
single.
we're in the right now. So I feel like this generation is quick on like, oh, I can get another boyfriend, I
Yeah.
can get another wife, I can get another job, I can get a. And sometimes
You don't want to
no,
do
you
the
can't.
work. Yeah, sometimes you can't.
We're
And
in a
sometimes
generation
you
that
don't want to
wanna
do the work.
Yeah.
And there was a time where we came outside, sat on our stoop, talked to our neighbors, knew everybody outside, the kids
Sit on
playing,
the
you know
phone,
Adam
sit
down the
on,
street.
you
Yeah.
fell
You were on the
asleep,
phone,
and, you
curling your
know.
toes, like, yeah, what you gotta, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
we don't even take that time to really get to know people
We
anymore.
look at your social media and we're like, oh, I know you now.
Oh, he got nice pictures. He must have money whole time. He ain't got a
Right.
box to
Come
put a
on.
foot in. You know
Right.
what I'm
Pot to
saying?
piss in
No
or a
pot,
window to throw it
nothing.
out
I
of.
think that's where it got us to
Mhm.
be where we are now because of I think social media. Because I feel like it made us be a judge to everything. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want a woman to do this. I don't want a man to do this. I don't want to because you see all of this online and you think you're supposed to demand that.
And then
No,
sometimes I feel bad for how I am. Like I'm just like, well, I am more domestic and I am more dependent. Like I'm not
That's okay for
ashamed to
you.
say like
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say like listen, I don't want to be the breadwinner of the house. I
No, indeed.
love a powerful, strong, providing ass man. That is attractive. That makes the water wet. You know, it makes the wave come.
Well,
So
how about-
I need that.
But how about this? Like you said, we have a lot of options. One of y'all said
Mhm.
that. What is the consequence of you thinking you got all of these
You
options
don't.
and you do not, in fact, have these options?
Cats.
You think you have
Cats.
options
Sims.
Yeah.
because of social media for the same reason. You think you have these options because of social media and because everybody seems so disposable
Mhm.
and everybody is on to the next one. You know, when you get a certain age and you like, damn, I ain't got nobody, like, now what?
So
Because you just thought you could dispose of people
Yeah,
and
and you-
keep it moving.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I kind of
No patience whatsoever with people.
pandemic. I was like getting rid of people, and then I realized during the pandemic, I was like, maybe I'm a little too harsh. Like maybe I gotta go revisit some friendships. You get what I'm saying? But then sometimes you gotta close the door. But I
Yeah.
feel like I get what you're saying. I
It's
feel
so
like
confusing.
Yeah, it is. It's
There's
like-
this study that was done on children when they go into an ice cream shop that has 3 flavors, and then there's one that when they go into ice cream shop that had like thousands. And the brain was more satisfied with the ice cream shop that had 3 flavors
that
than the
makes
one that had
sense.
thousands. And I feel like that's a very good
Oh
applicable
my
thing
goodness.
on our dating scene.
Mhm.
Because when I'm on Hinge and I'm flipping,
brains are going crazy.
flipping, I'm like, bro, like I don't know, like none of this.
Mhm.
And
I
then
don't
in
do good with too many
reality-
choices.
No,
Me
same.
neither.
I don't do good with that shit.
I do
Food.
think that we have
cheesecake
too many
factory.
choices to feel
About to
satisfied.
self-sabotage. 'cause
Yeah, no, it is. It is indeed.
Yeah, so now it's just like I'm about to get sick. I'm about to eat all these shits. That ice cream, that one. I'm about to try that one. You know, like it's not good to have too many options because then when you taste one you like, you still like, do I really love it though?
It might be
'Cause there
Let me
might
try
be
that.
something
Let me
else.
try that strawberry
Yeah.
pineapple cheesecake.
Yeah.
Facts,
Yeah,
facts,
we're
facts.
I mean, we're exposed to a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is because when you grow up in a neighborhood and you go to high school with a group of people
Yep.
and you guys live in a certain
Yep.
neighborhood and you're just like, okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna hang out with the people that are in my jurisdiction, then things are not as difficult. But when you have so many options, it's like, are we gonna get to a point where nobody settles? Are we gonna get to a point where everybody is just like,
Single and happy.
But I
Just-
think
I
there's
think
a false
unfortunately, yeah.
narrative, especially when you believe you have that many
But
options,
you do
don't
not have those
realize the
options.
option that you want. Most
want
other
you.
people want. So
Yes.
there's about over 300 million people on dating apps worldwide, right? So out of those, 80% of women are seeking 20% of men.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you're seeking this
a lot.
specific men. So out of 300 and over 300 million. So you think you have options, but the option you have, somebody else wants it too. So you really don't. So what ends up happening if you want partnership, if you do want a family or whatever it is, you hit 35, 40, you ran out of options.
yeah.